That's right. All right, guys. Let me just start off by saying this. Good job last week. And guess what? Shit's about to get even crazier. Okay? First of all, do I think the market sells off? Yo, at this point in the game, anything can happen. The answer is yes. Again, I'm going to point out again, this is what we will be trading. Okay? Here's a fractal. Kind of has the same wah, wah, wah right there at the end. So, money to be made if you know what lies ahead. Okay? With that said, I'm sure you've all seen that post about Bitcoin hitting all-time highs on October 6th, and this kind of has the same. We have to, though, be aware about the sector rotation. This is not, they can be jumping through algos left and right, and they probably will be. Okay, but now I've showed you my what I'm going into October trading and what can also happen. But with that said, this market is beyond overextended. So what? Now, the VIX, everybody's marveling over this. This is what's screwing people over. You have this rising and you have the market rising, right? Why is that? Well, people who are still alive in the game, now that everyone who started trading in 2020 has been taken care of, and we're welcoming new fish to the pond that are gonna end up on the barbecue. But nevertheless, people are hedging. Okay, when people hedge, and the VIX is not an extreme here. Once we crack this party line here, that's different. Okay, but then we're looking for a low already. But going into the expiration, which I think is October 17th, that's that next OPEX week, right? Yeah, I think this is gonna be OPEX, right? So we're trading this week now first, okay, and then OPEX next. This week is gonna be an absolute shit show and volatile. Historically, every fucking year. Like, this is where you shake out the weak hands, okay? So if you're new, don't be a hero. If you think you know what you're doing, be extra cautious. You can make a lot of money with little risk. It all depends on the VIX and the VIX range. It looks like we're gonna stay here. As soon as the VIX goes under here, this line here is your it'll let you know that it's party time, basically, for the premiums. And you saw last week that premiums are everything still. Okay, they are the best beacons of light. Okay, now last week Friday I started recognizing this pattern, and I'm very interested in seeing if it plays out, and I want you to check it out. This is an algorithm, okay? This is full Rain Man section, okay, for anybody wondering. See this boom, fade, up, end of day. Boom, fade, up, end of day. Next day followed by a gap up. Next day followed by a gap up. So this was Friday. Friday, gap and fade, okay? Gap, fade. So on Monday, we should open pretty flat. Now, around 7:30 my time, a couple of hours before power hour, I'm gonna start buying the dip. If we just chop around and we look ass all day, people are gonna be loading puts. Okay, we're gonna come and squeeze them out, hopefully. Sell, because remember, followed by a gap down. Okay, and if this keeps tracking and then does the whole same week, come Friday I have a trend change. Okay, so you're looking at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Then I would think this pattern, and Friday you might have a pretty nice sell or pullback starting. It would make sense time-wise. I just want everybody to be aware of it. Puts us about there. That's going to be the first. But these sells, I don't expect them to be, well, that one looks more than a few days. But we're trading this week right here, okay? It's going to follow by a sharp pullback and a squeeze. Okay, so all these sells aren't gonna be what people think. You go on Twitter and you see us fucking going to 4,000 and shit, and all that ridiculous stuff. If that were true, we would have sold already. People are just hedging right now for a volatile October to shake people out. So again, in and out. Don't be holding a bunch of shit here. Banks have earnings, right? Now these guys, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but they have a lot of unrealized losses, okay? So they got their ex-divs this week, and then they kick off earnings next week, okay? So we'll see what it does on Monday. So this upcoming earnings week, you got some weed and airlines, nothing exciting at all, but earnings do kick off next week. So we're back to the casino next week. That's what it looks like next week. But the week after that, we kick off all the earnings, which is going to be huge. Now remember, they can correct the market and then recorrect it through earnings. Okay, I think the best example of this is Meta, where I've scalped it here and there, but I've just said, hey, I'm not even gonna touch it until next earnings, and that's coming up end of October. I will, however, try to long it. I have the gap fill here. It is really close to that psych level. I think this could go lower. Okay, we'll have to keep an eye on it. But it's pretty clear to me that it's gonna come down and then fucking rip again, right? A market can't really sell with Nvidia just randomly putting in all-time highs, but as you know, they usually rip this into all-time high prior to earnings, and then after earnings they rotate out of this thing. Okay, I think we're kind of doing this here, right? And then it fluctuates and starts selling off after earnings and picks up steam. It's just where the money is parked, you know? Excuse me. We traded this last week. It was good to us. We're scalping it. I don't see why these can't go to new all-time highs. Okay? Avgo, we started a swing we were in for a little bit last week. Not very long. Soon it's gonna be Avgo time. It might be straight out of the gate. Okay, SMCI, same thing. It's in the gap. It should probably go close the gap this week or soon. You know, again, it's all about the sectoral rotation. Amazon has Prime Day, could be moving. I don't like trading Amazon, as you know. Now to some more exciting stuff. Tuesday is Lily Day. Now, obviously, we kicked ass on this last week and we haven't even traded it. It just showed that, hey, we react to the news. It makes sense. Let's fucking go. And usually those trades are the best. When you're fucking sitting there, you know, massaging the 5-minute chart because you got nothing else to do, you're forcing a trade. When you are able as a trader say, okay, this is gonna fucking go, glad I'm in, that's the best trade. Okay, so Pfizer had that huge move and then it started going sideways. Goes without saying, this already had its move. However, we don't know what deal they get. Can it go gap fill? It could. It could. So this is on watch. Same thing with UNH. It has now, it's already, here's the thing with Lily, right? Look, if you look at this move coming up to the gap, that's what happened with UNH. It came up, entered the gap, and then had like 3 weeks of dog shit. That is a topping candle. However, if we can just fill this gap, hold it, I think this is the week it goes. So I'll be playing UNH 375s when they become cheap. I'm already looking at them. This is kind of like my favorite play. With Lily, at some point, if I can afford some low risk 885s, I'll take them. Okay? Novo Nordisk is going to sell the Ozempic drug at Costco for half price, right? This is going to fucking gap up on Monday probably, or maybe that was the news already. This also has a gap to here, and that's where the flow is too. So I'm gonna scoop myself. I've never traded this either, but it's healthcare, you know, fucking sell. I'm not even gonna say it. It's a hard addiction, you know, because you do gotta eat, right? But maybe chill on the fucking unhealthy shit. Drink more coffee. Use nicotine, whatever. But yeah, this is gonna go. They're gonna sell a lot of this shit at Costco. Okay? Plug that Drac pointed out had a nice candle after hours. I sold this into close because, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm too ADHD to fucking swing and then hold a bunch of shit through October. Okay. So those, still healthcare, right? Premiums on UPST tells us this is going up here in a few weeks. Okay. It might treat you to a week like this though. Okay. But premiums 2 weeks out says it's going. Okay. Baba. This is my favorite fucking play this month. I refuse to short China stocks because, you know, they can do the good. They can smear some skippy peanut butter under your nose and say it's the Chinese version. Okay. But whenever I get it down here and that daily 21 is here, I'm loading up my bowl of fucking noodles and I'm going to 220. And we do have China meeting with the US end of the month, right? Then we have the subject of what fucking boomers need to be fake upset about last week with Elon at the helm of shorting Netflix. And, you know, I'm like, well, every kid in the world, literally, and he's still number one, has watched K-pop Demon Hunters. So are the people upset about whatever fucking... Look, I mean... It's nothing new under the sun that these fuckers are peddling. But all I'm just saying is a lot of kids do watch Netflix, and this would be the earnings after K-pop Demon Hunters. If it can come down to here, I'm loading the boat on these earnings. Okay? Hood, fuck yeah. 9 to 150. Okay? Google, all over the place last week, still hasn't hit 250. Coinbase, I did swing some 400s. I don't know if Bitcoin's gonna stay up here or go higher. We'll see. This shit, they're clearly doing the same. They're doing the earnings thing, right? But you can kind of... I mean, it's doing better. It's not at fucking 496. Tesla, I've never seen anyone pull the plug on some shit harder. Now let me explain again, because I want you to make money. Okay, even if I'm not always politically correct. There is one reason and one reason only for this sell. And if you watch this long, I'm gonna explain you this sell too. I told you here that someone wants access to the X algorithm. If you've been on Twitter this weekend, you've noticed how the algorithms changed after this sell. These are angry market makers on tape. Very simple. I'll keep this gap here on watch, but I'm pretty sure you can load this here. No one can convince me that this has anything to do with some fucking government shutdown and that the Democrats and Republicans pretending to not be on the same side here couldn't reach a resolution on fucking Friday afternoon. I mean, I'm not that retarded. This candle here, now having also watched the reaction, this was when a certain group of people were informed that there is a peace deal in the making. Angry market makers on tape. Okay? This will probably be the only peace deal that will be very short-lived in its pop. That's all I'm going to say about that. And that's the reality of the whole thing. Okay? As far as SPY and QQQ, look, you're in for a choppy week. We're going to see how long this pattern tracks that I showcased. I think it's pretty much on autopilot. And we will see. And we're going to follow the seasonality chart. And at some point, you're going to get that first dip. And as you can see with all these dips, they get bigger. What did you learn last week? What did you learn? In a downtrend, you got to scoop the third dip. 1, 2, 3. We're going to catch these too, but they're bounces. But it's the third one you got to load. And obviously, that third one right there comes wrapped in FOMC and China meeting. Okay? I posted a video on TikTok about the dollar. Look, this is where Trump became president. This is what's happened to your wealth. This is another way of inflating. It means that ever since America became great again, we've lost fucking 11% in value of our money. That's a pretty shit deal. Last term, they ran it down 15%. Okay? That was the low. I still think just because the nature of the chart, this is going way fucking lower. Like way lower. And I know that they're gonna bring it down to here. This is the reason you need to learn how to make more funny money. And you gotta look, you gotta drop the old way of thinking. You think that in a automated world where everybody is on government fucking tokens, that crude oil is gonna blast off somehow? How? That's why OPEC, every single fucking meeting for God knows how long, are saying they're increasing the output. They want to sell their barbecue sauce while people are still grilling. Straight up. So let's see, that is a top candle, if you've ever seen one. But if it can hold, this can go higher, probably to 135. Okay? So quite the mixed bag. However, I'm gonna get to my second favorite trade setup after showing you the NAMO that is fucking ready to rock. And Dom, thank you Dom, you're the man. You've already posted it in the ghost candle, and that is this fucker. Okay? And this fucker is ready. Super ready. And the ghost is to 272. Okay? How will I play it? When do I know? How do I know what's gonna go? I have no fucking clue when and where, but I am gonna be loading some in the monies. Apple obviously pretty ass to trade. Still chopping. That's still a mammoth bull flag. Probably gets a dip and a rip. So keep this and UNH close this week. And as far as SPY and QQQ, I'll probably trade SPY 20s and scalp some SPX. That's the broad plan for this week. Okay, let's go over the calendar. Then we got the whole government shit. When's the government opening up? I don't fucking know. No one knows. Monday, nothing happening. Probably gonna be news driven regarding this whole peace deal thing, arrangement, whatever you want to call it. Tuesday, some Bostic, consumer credit, Redbook, blah blah blah. Probably more news. I still don't have Trump's weekly agenda. They give a day at a time. Wednesday, now we're cooking. We're getting FOMC minutes. Okay, yeehaw. Last FOMC was to the upside. So, where's Mr. Spider? We do have one phantom print, the 664, right? That one. If we, for some reason, find ourselves down here into these FOMC minutes, obviously by the fucking dip because the move's up, right? We've determined that. Thursday, we got Fed Chair Powell. This is the first time I'm seeing this absolute spice. Last time he talked, he sent us down. Remember that. And he's fucking pre-market. So we got a turn day on Friday, plus minus 1 day. Let's determine here. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I said earlier in this video, Thursday the pattern should stop if it tracks. So that's perfect. Okay, Powell pre-fucking market. Major dog shit on the lawn that you don't know is there. 30-year bond auction is gonna be huge. I mean, that's the big one, right? And Friday, Michigan consumer sentiment. If the government opens up at some point, maybe they drop NFP numbers. I don't know. But again, guys, in and out. Full ninja scalping this week. Okay? Except for the healthcare names. And I understand why they're also hot, because they haven't moved in a long time. And, you know, they got plenty of upside if they want to fucking go. Yeah. And they could probably run this whole sector into next earnings. That's the thing. You also have a full moon on Monday that could lead us down there. You know, remember, they flip the moon thing a couple times a year because we should have 13 months, but we have 12, right? So the 12th would put us, or the 21st. Let me just fucking mark it. I'm sure it's gonna be another trend change. It's a Tuesday, perfect, a Tuesday low. I would not be surprised if this market downtrends a little bit into that, and once you're here, that daily 21's here. And again, I just want to remind everyone, I know you're on your shit already and you know this, but we didn't hit the phantom. We hit it pre-market. You got a pre-market all-time high on QQQ. You need to take it out in a few days, or that is your confirmation of a trend change to the downside. You want to hit that during market hours, or it remains as a target. Okay? And I know this is a lot of info to take in. We still have about 9 billion of dark pool around here. Okay, they're very scarce with their dark pool and phantom prints. Okay, got a 655 as well coming in. So yeah, we're gonna go down here this week at some point. So a lot of rotation, a lot of shaking of hands, a lot of basically shaking the tree before we go. Very, very volatile month. I don't want anybody getting fucking cooked. Keep an eye on this as well. That's a new all-time high. Top candle still holding that level. If it loses that level, it needs to go down to here, which is the daily 9. It's all very mechanical, even though it looks like it's not. Okay, very interesting thing on the last order on the flow was a massive in the money QQQer. Okay, let's check the gamma for next week before we wrap this shit up. Very interesting. Very interesting. This is what I'm talking about here. Like, someone knows something regarding tech. I don't fucking know what it is yet, but we're gonna play it. Monday is the 6th. This is SPY, by the way. Shouldn't go over that. Should have a bottom there. 7th, same thing. Wonder why that's, yeah, 650, That's probably hedging. Wednesday says Powell, well, this is before Powell. Wednesday, we still kind of have the same shit going on here. Thursday is Powell. Does he send it? I don't know. We'll have to play that with the premium since he's pre-market. That could be pretty fun. Yeah, it looks like a chop week, honestly, guys. We'll see what news they throw at us. God bless, and I'm glad some of you boys went to the show. Fantastic, and thank you for the anthem you made us, guys. God bless.